Okay, today we are talking about digestive system of fish. So you can see the first picture of a big whale. It's not a fish. Former times people used to think a whale was a fish. So this was the story of Jonah and the whale. The next slide. So this is a story from the Bible where Jonah actually what happened was that he did not believe in God. So he said that I will not believe in God. So God, in order to punish him, he was traveling on a ship, caused a shipwreck, and he fell in the water. And so while he was drowning, he told, okay, God, I will believe you, I will spread your word and everything. And then what happened was that a big whale came and took him in his stomach and deposited Jonah on the land. And so God saved him and he started speaking about God's grace everywhere. So all these are stories. There are lots of beautiful stories which are very interesting to hear without any relevance to science. But these stories are there. At that time, whale was considered as a fish, but now you know it's a mammal. But it's very nice to hear about it. I think it was in the Gospel. There are 4 Gospels in the Bible. It was in the Bible, the Gospel of Mark, which is the second one. Not the Gospel of John, and there are other 2 also. Okay, go to the next one. If you look at the digestive system in general, you can see the beginning there is a mouth. The mouth, it leads through a pharynx, a region called the pharynx. In the pharynx, which is connected with the gills, and that leads to a stomach. The stomach leads to the intestine. Right, the big stomach, there is a diverticulum in the stomach. All stomachs have got a diverticulum. So that leads to a diverticulum, and then it leads to the intestine, which eventually leads to the anus. This is essentially the basic digestive system tube. Supporting it are gallbladder, liver, which are the supporting structures. And of course there is the pancreas which is present, which is very small, but it is present. So this is the essential digestive structure. If you can go to the next one. So all what you study about this digestive structure, a comparative anatomy, is all modification of this basic alimentary canal. How this alimentary canal is. First one is the digestive system in lamprey, cyclostomes, lamprey and hagfishes. It is very simple. The mouth, you can see the picture. It's a simple long tube, and which lead there is, you can't see it, something like a stomach is also not seen, because basically it is taking, it's feeding on other fishes, the body juices. So strong digestion is not required. So the intestine has got a spiral curtain partition. Spiral means like a spring, and it divides is divided both sides of the intestine, because the stomach is not very prominent, and that is known as a spiral valve. Essentially, if any hard material comes, this valve is good in crushing them. The spiral valve is good in crushing bones and whatever structures are present. Otherwise, they are going to cause injury here and there. They are crushed.
Is it similar to gizzard seen in insects?
Gizzard is basically for storing and grinding. It's similar to gizzards, but that happens before it enters the alimentary canal, actually, esophagus or stomach. The gizzard is storing also, it's storage as well as there is crushing also in the gizzard. But this is very primitive if you look at the digestive system of lamprey. Then if you go to the shark, you will see The esophagus leads to almost a stomach. There is something like a stomach there present, right? And there is this diverticulum, and the intestine has got this spiral valve. And this spiral valve, what it does is it crushes food. It crushes food. And near the rectum is present the rectal glands. It's basically, essentially, it removes salt because it lives in salt water. So they secrete salt out of their body, excess salt. It helps them from excess salt stress. And then it goes through the cloaca and it's excreted outside. Then the next one, go to the next one. You have the normal teleous digestive system. There are modifications of this digestive system. Normally, higher fish, they lose the spiral valve. They don't have the spiral valve because they don't take bones. Like sharks eat flesh and everything. They have got bones. These bones need to be crushed. Otherwise, they will not be able to digest them. They are crushed. So, many of these higher teleous fish lose the spiral valve modification of the intestine in favor of a lengthened system which coils about within the body cavity. Okay, so the stomach divides, and the pyloric stomach has got a region known as pyloric ceca, which acts almost like a liver. A small diverticula of the intestine located just posterior to the pyloric sphincter, and that leads to an intestine which is coiled.
So Sika, that you said pyrolic Sika, that is doing the work of the liver. Similar or?
Similar. So next, go to the next one. Now let us talk about in detail. So the basic digestive system includes alimentary canals and associated glands. So there are 4 distinct regions. One is the ingressive zone, next is the progressive zone, then is the digressive zone and the egressive zone. Ingressive means it goes inside, then progressive means it pushes the inside, forward inside. Digressive means it starts to push it outside, and egressive means it's removed. So essentially it is mouth, esophagus, stomach, intestine followed by rectum. So if you look at the mouth of the fish, mouth is the anterior opening. Next slide. Mouth is the anterior opening of the alimentary canal. So most fish mouth fall into 3 general types. Superior mouth type, the mouth is on the top. Terminal, it's at the edge. And inferior, it's just below, here mouth. One mouth is here, one mouth is here, one mouth is here. So there are 3 types of mouth. So you can see the picture of a terminal mouth. Subterminal mouth is below. Inferior mouth ekdam andar mein. Superior mouth is on the top. Lote mach. Superior mouth. Then we go to the next one, teeth. The teeth are generally hollow cones of dentine containing pulp cavities. So there is the cyprinoids, that is in Labiorohita, Katla, there is absence of teeth. Instead, inside the pharynx there are 3 structures, contarcapes. 3 pharyngeal teeth are present. You see one edge of this contapiece serrated, and that is the pharyngeal teeth. So all biting takes place inside the throat, in the pharynx. They don't have teeth outside. Outside you can touch, smooth. Pharyngeal teeth are located below and above the pharyngeal arches. They are pharynx, gill slits, just upar aur niche mein hai. Ye teeth, that is for crushing. Their pharyngeal teeth are present there. Next one, the buccal cavity, pharynx and gill rakers. So you see, kanko, fulki piece. You see these little gill arches present. On the gill arch, the gill filaments are present. Small, these red kanko gill filaments are present. On the other side, you have the gill rakers present. Okay, the buccal cavity, the jaw teeth leads to an oral cavity, gill, and after that the pharyngeal teeth just before it enters the intestine, esophagus. There are pharyngeal teeth present. Basically, ওই কণ্ঠার পিসটা ওইখান থেকেই আসে. A bit of this part comes out. পেটির পিসের সঙ্গে মিক্স থাকে তলার দিকে। নেক্সট স্লাইড। So in omnivorous fishes, those who eat non-veg and veg, like puti mach, Putius sarana, gill rakers are short and stumpy. Short and stumpy gill rakers. In herbivores like Labiorhoita, Serena mrigala, gill rakers form a broad sieve-like structures across the gills. 15 to 16, দেখো ডান দিকের ছবিও, ডান দিকের ওপরের ছবিটা, 15 to 16 gill rakers are present over there. Now in carnivorous fishes, they are very long, like Valago attu. Valago attu jano kuki mach, boal. Mr. Singhala, Chana striatus. Okay, these are carnivorous fishes. You see, long gill rakers are present. Fulkit dikta, kankor dikta. Now go to the next slide. We come to the esophagus. The pharynx opens behind into the esophagus, which have a large number of mucus secreting cells, which are scattered in the mucosa. Also, taste buds are present, like Labiorhoita, Carpius, Cyprinus carpio, Katla katla. It has got the short and narrow tube in case of herbivorous and omnivorous. छोटा tube रहता है esophagus का. Herbivorous and omnivorous, जो वेज एंड नॉन वेज खाता है. And it is large and distensible in case of carnivorous and predatory fishes. वो लंबा होता है carnivorous fishes and predatory fishes. शिंगी के Heterocneustes fossilis. अलग है. Sharks are desired modern teleost. Okay, let's go to the stomach. Next one. First is divided, different shape and size hota hai iska, and then it is divided into anterior cardiac stomach and posterior pyloric stomach. Even we also have the same thing. All fishes do not possess a true stomach. In herbivorous fishes like Labiorhoita, Katla, because they are on vegetation, they don't need the stomach. Don't need high amount of acid secretion. They are not taking meat based diet. It is almost small or almost present. In fishes, in such fishes, the anterior part of the intestine is swollen to form a sac-like structure called intestinal bulb. So true stomach is only present in carnivorous and predatory fishes. So rohu mach mein immediately you will see the direct intestine coming, an intestinal bulb start hota hai, jo pitti nikalta hai, the gallbladder bile duct, तो उसको निकालता है, वहाँ से you see the straight digestive system, long but straight digestive. You don't see a stomach like you can see in the case of Pabda or this particular Shingi or Magur. There you will find a stomach in the inside, but normally they just pull it out and you find the stomach over there. Okay, let's go to the next one. Carnivorous fishes. Carnivorous fishes' stomach is generally sac-like and thick-walled in carnivorous fishes. In omnivorous fishes also it is same. Go to the next one, anatomy of the stomach. In herbivorous fishes, no stomach. The pylorus is a sphincter that prevents premature movement of the food bolus out of the stomach. Around the pylorus, many fishes have outpocketings called pyloric ceca, जैसे तुम देखे हो पहले. Go to the next slide. So if you look at the comparison in trout, which is carnivorous, you have a mouth, esophagus, stomach. Stomach leads to an intestine. In catfish, omnivorous, mouth, esophagus, you have a big stomach which leads to an intestine. In carp, almost no stomach, direct intestine. In milkfish, which is a planktivore, almost no stomach, and it leads to an intestine. This is the comparative of the stomach among different fishes. Now look at the pyloric ceca. Next one. So anterior part of the intestine give rise to a number of finger-like outgrowths called pyloric or intestinal ceca. Pyloric ceca serve as accessory food reservoirs. Histologically, intestinal ceca resembles the intestine and probably serve to enhance the absorptive area. Okay, go to the next one, which is about the intestine. The part of the alimentary canal that follows stomach is called intestine and is divided into two parts. Anterior part is the small intestine, posterior part is the large intestine. Nothing brilliant about it. The small intestine is just behind the stomach, receives duct from the liver and the pancreas and is known as duodenum, while the rest of the part is called ileum, hum log ke tarah. There is no clear-cut demarcation between the small intestine and large intestine. This is actually an important point. The length of the intestine depends on the feeding habit of the fishes. So non-veg fish, smaller intestine, larger stomach, herbivores ulta. So in carnivorous fishes, it is shortened in carnivorous fishes such as Volaga atu, Mr. Singala, because flesh can be digested more readily than the plant-based foodstuff. Okay? So just ulta, herbivore, carnivore. In herbivorous fishes, elongated, many folds. Next wala slide mein hai, it's like that, the intestine. And in omnivorous fishes, intermediate size. Rohu is essentially herbivore. The rectum, it is not usually distinguishable. Next one mein jao. Distinguishable externally, but an ileorectal valve is present in few species of fish to demarcate it from the intestine. Histologically, the mucous folds of rectum differ from the intestine in being shorter, broader, possess large number of mucus secreting cells, and they produce copious amount of mucus to lubricate waste food and aid in easy defecation. So there are two types of digestive gland: the pancreas, exocrine as well as endocrine. Endocrine, insulin, glucagon; exocrine, all the pancreatic digestive enzymes, lipase, amylase. What is this? Or other protease also. Trypsin, chymotrypsin, all these things are there. Then a liver, it has got bile in fat digestion, it helps. Digestive enzymes are pepsin, trypsin, chymotrypsin, elastase, carboxypeptidase, aminopeptidases, pancreatic alpha amylase, polypase, pancreatic lipase. So these are all these digestive enzymes. Just have the names of them. Now let us go to the feeding adaptation in fishes. So various structures have been modified according to the nature of the food and feeding habits of the fish. What are they? Position of the and the shape of the mouth differs. The dentition differs. The daant. Lips may become cornified, as in the case of labio rui katla and all these things. Taste buds and mucus secreting cells. Structure of pharynx and gill records. You can see throughout this chapter you have seen there are differences coming over here. So in the end, the conclude structure of the alimentary canal varies in different species of fishes and is generally adapted in relation to food and feeding habit. Okay, so this is actually what you study in this chapter. Thank you for bearing with me. Do you people have got any questions?